morning. I haven't really been making a proper video for a very long time. My last video was a reading by Neil Gaiman, which of course was great because that meant I got to meet Neil Gaiman, which was amazing. But I am now going to make a new book review, finally. I had been planning on making others, but I haven't really had the time. But it's Saturday, it's morning, it's sunny outside, I'm sitting on my balcony, and it's so nice. And I want to tell you about this book I just read. I finished it yesterday. So, the book I've read is talking about Jane Austen in Baghdad. And I actually wanted to read it because of the title. It was offered as a book ring book on Book Crossing, and I thought, well, it has to be about Jane Austen, so of course I love Jane Austen, so why don't I read it? The thing is, though, it's not really about Jane Austen. However, it turned out that this is not a book about Jane Austen. It is in fact about two women, Rowlatt, and she's a BBC journalist working for the BBC World Service in London, and Witwit, who is a university teacher at the University of Baghdad, teaching English literature and human rights. This is actually the correspondence between the two women. They correspondence via email, and they start writing to each other in January 2005, which is after the American invasion of Iraq, and until October 2008. It starts with B asking May for an interview, and then they actually just keeps on writing to each other. They write each other emails and keep in touch and tell each other about their lives, and through this they build a really strong loving relationship, a really strong friendship, even though they're really different, age difference, cultural difference, and not to speak of the distance, the physical distance between Iraq and England. I found this to be a really interesting read. I really liked how they describe their lives, how they can actually find a true friendship, even though they are so far away and so different, and they have such different beliefs and culture. Coffee. I also found it really interesting that we see how the invasion of Iraq wasn't as good as many might think. The idea was to get rid of Saddam Hussein, which wasn't a really great man, we know. Things weren't great in Iraq before the invasion, but the problem was, according to the people actually living in Iraq, things got actually much worse after the invasion. And they actually live in a really violent environment. May tells about how getting to the university to teach is really difficult with the bombing and everything, and it's not an easy life. So this is a really gripping story, a really strong story, and I think it's the kind of book pretty much everybody should read, because it has so much insight and you learn so much from it. So yeah, this is the kind of book I think that everybody should read. It's non-fiction, but it's in many ways an easy read, even though it's very touching. There's a lot of really touching scenes, and yeah, it's not difficult to read, even though it's non-fiction, and it's I think a lot of people could learn a lot from it. They might even have some prejudices broken down. I know I had some prejudices, especially about women in Iraq. That turned out not to be completely right, and I'm so glad I read this book, even though it wasn't about Jane Austen.